Lift off. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Standup.
I have to step away for a second. Shut up.
Oh my
It doesn't
God,
have to be
dude!
exact.
Every
Remember?
Classic
time.
prime
Okay.
moment, dude.
Yep.
Hey, hi, hey, everybody. There is a very high chance I have no idea what we're talking about.
I was
There's a
told
100% chance I have no idea what
the
we're talking about.
Google
Same.
Cloud Service outage last week,
Okay, so you do
which
know
isn't
things
really
about
a security thing, but that's okay.
it. Did you wait? You made a video on this. What are you
I
talking
did.
about?
That doesn't mean
It's
anything.
not security.
I made a
It's
video
not
on Nintendo
security.
Switch. What?
Yeah, it's not
was-
security. It wasn't a
Oh, I
security
don't know
problem.
what we're talking about.
No one
Also,
got
I
hacked.
did make a video on it. Just throwing that out there. Just, oh yeah, I made a little quick video on it, but I have actually no
I
goddamn
got it.
idea
I'll
what it is
carry us.
about.
It's all good. Let's do it. Let's go.
We got
Oh
it.
my
We got
gosh,
this. We
what-
got this,
just
Prime. Nothing
actual-
could possibly go wrong. We're good. It's great.
Okay,
Step
I gotta
away.
be right
No
back.
problem. We
I
got
gotta
this.
be right back.
Go pee or something.
Yeah.
Okay, the reason why I got to be right back is I got to put a little bit of milk in my cacao coffee because just a splash of milk with cacao is really delicious.
I would love a coffee right now, actually. Oh, I want coffee so bad.
Anyways, sorry.
Prime, I know that you're itching right now to do your signature opening to the extent that it exists for the podcast.
I, the single greatest opener of all time
There
for
it
the
is.
stand-up, would love to start the opening. Hey, today we have a very special episode of the stand-up. We replaced TJ with, in fact, a smarter version of TJ. Low-level learning's first appearance on the stand-up, security expert, probably Balatro expert as well. As always, we have Casey Moratori and Trash Dev on here. Today, we're going to be talking about a very large security incident and low-level learning. We brought him on due to all of his expertise, his good looks, his deep knowledge of C and null pointers and everything, and he's going to walk us through what's kind of happened, and we're going to talk about maybe the state of security and who knows where this is going to go. So, low-level, why don't you kick us off on this one?
Let's do it, man. Yeah. So, I mean, it all goes back to 1972 when C, the programming language, was invented. And then 50 or so years later, we're still using it, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, man, last week, Google kind of took the internet offline for 3
hold on,
hours.
time out.
Yeah.
You started like 50 years ago and then went right up to last week. Like, what happened in between?
Not a ton, honestly.
Okay.
Not
No.
a ton. Like a couple new C standards came out, and then now here we are. So that's
People
about
were
where it
people were
ends.
born.
Yeah, some people were born.
Okay.
But yeah, so Google took the internet out, man, and it's kind of crazy how they did it. It was like Thursday at like 13:52 roughly Eastern time in the U.S.
I have to convert that in my head. 1352, 152.
One.
Okay.
One o'clock.
1 p.m.
He's a
Eastern
military
time,
boy. You just got to deal with it.
10 p.m. Pacific time, and
Although I guess you round it to 2 o'clock, I guess. It's 52, but yeah.
internet went down for a little bit. And no one, still to this day, knows exactly what happened, but Google did put out a report that talks about what they did. The end result, or the end reason, was that Google published code that did not account for null pointers, and when a policy change went out that contained a null pointer in the policy change, it crashed the management plane of the Google Cloud, period, full stop. That's what happened. Absolutely nuts.
Classic
Crazy stuff.
NPE.
Classic Google move. And the irony in all of this is that Google is a company that runs the OSS Fuzz project, which is open source software fuzzing. So literally what they have is a data center full of machines that fuzz open source software to find memory corruption vulnerabilities in them, right? This is a project Google has been sponsoring for a very long time. So the palpable irony in Google releasing software internally to their own management plane that had a memory issue, and not like a heap overflow or erase condition, something a little harder to detect, something as simple that you could like lint with like a failing to check a null pointer, crashing the internet is just some of the craziest news I've seen in a very long time.
Can you rewind a little bit?
Yeah.
You said two things that I think probably need a bit of explaining. One, maybe give like a quick overview of what a memory fuzzer is. And then
Yeah.
two, you said that nobody knows what happened, but Google released a port. Are you saying that Google knows what has happened? They're just not telling people what has happened?
Press down! What happened? I don't know. Did you push? On a Friday? Never! How are we gonna figure this out? How are we gonna figure this out?
Got us your prods down? Do you guys need the wheel?
NeoVim config. That makes sense. I'm gonna spend a couple hours refactoring. I'll beat the plugins.
Don't guess where your issues are. You can see exactly where they are happening with Sentry. Get all the context you need to debug any problem because code breaks, so fix it faster with Sentry.
Operationally, internal to Google, we do not know how that code got out, right? Like, was the code pushed through CI/CD and like it failed the test and they just said roll with it? Was the code vibe coded and no one really checked? Like, there's a lot of like weird if and if ands that could be happening with that code that caused it to get published in the state that it was. That's a little weird. That's what I mean by like no one knows what happened. We know that there was a null pointer. We know that that was the reason why it crashed.
Yeah.
But how that code got released is still kind of like ambiguous. And then Casey and I were talking previously about like when CrowdStrike had their incident.
Right.
They released like a 50-page report that said like, hey, here is exactly what happened. Here is why the code went out. You know, sorry, it won't happen again. Yada yada yada. Google has not done that yet.
And amusingly, these two exploits were exploits the wrong term. Sorry, these two they're just crashes. Like nobody exploited anything, right?
Right.
But they're actually kind of similar. The CrowdStrike one and the Google one were both like we have some config stuff that can happen. Essentially, like there's some kind of like code that's being driven off of like some data that goes into the code that tells it like what it should do, right? And in the CrowdStrike case, that was the problem, is that, you know, the in production was the first time it got fed the correct data, like to make the bad case happen. And the same was true of Google, apparently. It's like basically this code, it will only hit its null pointer case. I mean, trying to read between the lines of the thing that they published, because again, they didn't show the code like CrowdStrike did, but it only gets to the null pointer case apparently if you pass it a certain configuration for the quota system. Like this, it was in the like thing that's trying to check quotas or this sort of thing. So it's the same exact kind of pathologies. Like there's a type of data that if you fed it to this thing, it doesn't do the right like checking of that data to make sure that it won't go into some bad code path, and off you go. And so they're kind of actually somewhat similar, at least from what Google actually said, which again, they didn't include the code. So it's like, who knows? They didn't even say what language it was in, correct?
They didn't. They said null pointer, but that could be C, C++, whatever, right?
Or Go.
Or
Go has null
yeah.
pointers, I think, too, right? Yeah.
Yep. That's
Yes,
true.
they do.
So
Famously.
Hold on, time out. Did we explain what a memory fuzzer is?
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
a
I can talk
memory
about that.
Okay,
So
yeah.
basically, a
Asking
memory
for a
fuzzer,
friend, me.
it's basically picture it's like a unit test where you're trying to get as much code coverage as possible, but instead of like traversing down paths with like the sane data shape, you're literally mutating the data to try to find edge cases in your code that are not accounted for in testing. So like, if I have an HTTP fuzzer, my initial corpus, my first seed is going to be HTTP, you know, like a GET request, right? And then what the fuzzer will do is it'll pick a random byte in that packet, it'll mutate it by like flipping a bit, it'll like make an integer, a negative integer, it'll do some mutation, and then it'll run that request on the service and see, hey, does that input generate new coverage? If it does, okay, that is a new piece we have to add to the corpus to future mutate to find new code paths, and you do that trying to enumerate the entire code base from a coverage perspective. And so what a memory fuzzer would have done if they had fuzzed this software, and again, like this is the science behind getting coverage in fuzzing is like cutting edge technology right now. No one has it like figured out, but Google's very good at it. A fuzzer would have very quickly found like, oh, if this field is 0, it crashes the program, right? So it kind of implies that the software was not fuzzed, at least long at all. To Casey's point, this code had actually been public, or not public, it had been released since like May of this year, like May 29th, I think. And because they had never pushed a policy change that exercised this code path, it just never was seen to crash. So either they didn't test it, they didn't fuzz it, nothing really was done to like try to exercise this code until it got hit on June 12th. So.
And it sounded like, too, that the fuzzing would not have had to have been very complicated because the way they made it sound, anyway, in the very terse description, was that, like, the kind of thing that would crash this was just something with some missing fields. They just used the phrase missing fields. So, you know, a basic fuzz tester would probably try a bunch of different field combinations with some missing. Okay, like that's not a weird thing to have fuzzed. And apparently that was not done, I guess. But again, because there's so little information, who knows? Maybe it was a very strange, like really unusual combination of missing fields that no one thought to check. Who knows, right?
Yeah, what I would imagine is that, again, all speculation. I don't work at Google. I have no idea. It is likely they're passing around either a JSON blob or a YAML file, and then like if you use some YAML object that exists, but a subfield in that YAML object does not exist, that will populate a null pointer that then gets read. And the problem with that is like fuzzing binary data is very easy because, like I said, you flip a bit, you make an integer sign, or something like that. Fuzzing data with a sane grammar, like JavaScript, for example, or YAML, much more complicated. So the fact that it was not fuzzed implies that it was some like human readable grammar and like a config spec that just didn't get tested, which is, again, for Google, it's just crazy, but also I could totally see why that would happen operationally.
So I have a question.
Brian? Yeah, what's up?
So I don't know much about the outage because I was at a conference, so I didn't really see the internet go out if it actually did at all. So when you say that crashed the internet, to me that just sounds like a really bold claim. Like what? like
yeah.
When
So
we
what
say
was
it
the
crashed the
fallout,
internet,
right?
like what is like the impact here, and like what was the collateral? Like what happened exactly?
Yeah. So basically, when this outage happened, what really ended up occurring was that the binary that was responsible for doing quota and authority checks or like authorization checks on requests like crashed in all regions of the world, right? So basically any call to a Google Cloud Platform API would just 503. Like you could not do anything. So if you're like my course website, not a plug, this is like real life.
Yeah, what's the course website again? Just for
Low
in
level
case.
academy. If you want to learn C, Rust, whatever.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
just cheeky little
Plugs
plug.
are allowed
Not a
here.
plug, Low level academy.
Plugs
though.
are allowed.
No, but the reason
you
why I'm
spell
saying
that?
this is because I depend on Google OAuth, right? And so every time my site receives a 503 from an API, I get an email. And so during this outage, because the OAuth provider was returning 503s, I got like 120 emails in 30 minutes being like, you know, the internet's down. So the issue was basically every site on the internet now depends on Google in some form or fashion, through OAuth, through the actual like compute providers, a bunch of other stuff that I don't use or don't care to use. But basically, because Google in its entirety went down, it kind of like brought the internet down with it, which is very like counterintuitive to like the design of the internet. It's meant to be like a decentralized mesh of nodes that if one goes down, routing exists and you can kind of route around it. But if it kind of just goes to show that we have this really weird dependence on like single points of failure in modern cloud architecture, which is kind of scary, I think, from a cyber attack perspective, right? It's kind of like how when Dyn went down, or DIN, however you want to pronounce it, in 2016, like again, DNS, core protocol to the internet, there was like one major provider that went down because of a botnet, and when that went down, it took the whole internet down with it. So
Cyberdyne, did you say?
no, just Dyn, D-Y-N.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, cyber attack. The provider is called Dyn. I don't know if it's
a
Dyn
Terminator
or
joke.
It's
Din.
a Terminator joke. He's
Terminator
going
joke.
Skynet on us.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm a little too young for Terminator, I think. I'm 30.
No
so
way.
Yeah, shut up. You're not too young for Terminator.
Your false parents are already dead.
Wait, what was the
problem
first? When did the first Terminator come out?
Like
90s?
78, I think.
Oh, was it that old?
No,
Really?
81 or 2.
thought it was
wouldn't
80s.
it be?
Terminator 1? Nah, I don't think so. I think I'm
Was in
right.
the late 70s? No, he wasn't.
Terminator 2 is the best
Okay,
Terminator. though.
84. You're right. It's 84.
I was gonna say, it's like
It's a little-
yeah.
My bad.
A little older.
Yeah.
But the problem is you can name any movie. I probably haven't seen it.
Do you, not watch, do you just
Lord
not
of the
like
Rings.
movies?
Lord of the Rings, okay, those I've seen.
Oh, got him.
But I'm a nerd. Any other movie, fine.
Yeah.
Really, just any other
well-
movie?
What?
Do you
Star
want
Wars.
to do this again?
Star Wars.
Gladiator.
Fine,
I
Star
love-
Wars. Those are the only two. Other than that,
You guys are batting 1,000. Love it.
Anyways, I guess we could just move on, Mister. I've never seen any
I-
movies except for all the ones we named.
Exactly.
of the two, yeah.
Before, maybe we should just stay off topic. I know it's going to bring us back on, but this is kind of good. So name a third movie. Someone name a third movie.
I went with Gladiator.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, that's
Really?
a little more
Saving
obscure.
Private Ryan.
No,
I've seen
first
half
off,
of it.
Gladiator is not rare.
How,
Gladiator
wait,
was a
okay, whoa,
great movie.
stop.
Gladiator is one of the best movies ever.
Everyone
Really?
stop. How did
In
you
my
only
opinion.
see half of Saving Private
Can I tell you why? Can I tell
Yes,
you why?
please.
When I was growing up, big paintball kid. We loved to play paintball. We would go
Okay.
drive an hour south to go play paintball called Cousins Paintball in Toms River, New Jersey. And every time we went, we would hype ourselves up by watching the Normandy invasion scene. We would get like an
That is
hour into the
very
movie, and then we
sick.
would be done. Yeah, dude. That's what we did.
That is dark.
Dude, I mean,
What?
That's what we would do. We were like 12-year-old kids, man. We had to get hyped up somehow. So
And that's how I
There's
knew I would
there's
have a job in
literally people
security
getting blown
someday.
up. What?
Dude, we were going to war with paintball, man. Oh, yeah, we were teenagers, so I mean, like, give me a break. But yeah, so that's why I've only seen half of it. Because we would get into the Normandy invasion scene, get like an hour into the movie, and then it'd be over, and then we'd be there.
He's like, I still don't know what happened in World War II. Who won?
Yeah, I mean, did we win? Shit, I have no idea.
It looked pretty bad from that. I didn't. We probably weren't gonna.
No spoilers, please.
Yeah, no spoilers. And apparently, like Oppenheimer, we had like a big bomb or something. That's crazy too.
When did that even happen? Who knows?
I know.
Confusing. Very confusing.
All right. Well, let's get back on topic here. Okay, so philosophically, are you saying that all those times I've been told that rolling my own auth is for losers and people who want security issues may not have been correct? Is that true? Is that what you're saying? Low-level learning, chief expertise of security?
I mean, chief expertise in cloud, incorrect. No. But yeah, I don't. It's tough, right? It's just everything you do anywhere, including in programming, including in like system architecture, is a choice in risk. And what is risk? It's the probability that a thing will occur, and if it occurs, what happens, right? How bad is it? The probability that Google Cloud goes down all the time is fairly low, so not impossible, but like, it could happen. So I don't think it's bad if you use Google Auth. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to consider that in your calculus. Like, well, how mission critical is my software? If Google goes down, which it definitely could, are people gonna get hurt, kind of thing? Like maybe medical providers shouldn't be using Cloud Auth for their stuff if it's a complete necessity that they get into it. So I don't think it's bad to roll your own auth. I just think you have to do the math on what makes sense for your application.
It's kind of rough too. I think, like at least from a user's perspective, or I mean, for when I say user, I mean someone who uses like cloud services. Mm-hmm. It's a bit tough too, because one of the things that seemed to get exposed by this particular crash, at least when I was kind of looking at people's reports on it, was that a lot of people didn't seem to know, or maybe could not have known, that they were relying on someone who was relying on Google. So I could even imagine somebody who's like, oh, don't worry, we like use two different storage providers or two different auth providers, not realizing that actually they will both go down if Google's quota server goes down, right? And so one of the things that kind of occurred to me during this crash, not being a security professional, so I don't really have to think about this for my job, but it just was kind of floating around my head, was I was like, it probably should be a requirement somewhere for these kinds of services that you get the diagram where it's like, what are all the things that you actually call out to? So that I can look, and if I want to do a redundant thing, I know that I need something where the Venn diagrams don't overlap. Because if at the end of the day, all of these people call AWS, then really I have no redundancy at all. Because as soon as AWS goes down, all of my stuff goes down or whatever, right? And I realize no one's probably thinking that way. Like people, like the web is not really about uptime. It doesn't seem. But like, let's suppose you were, it would be interesting to be able to get that so that you could just kind of know, okay, if I use this and this, they're fairly disparate. Whereas if I use this and this, they share a bunch of services, so there's probably no point because I'm not really getting any redundancy there. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes sense. But I do want to throw something in here really quickly before an actual expert speaks. Is that, Casey, it sounds like you're getting dangerously close to us drawing UML. Which, just generally speaking, here at the startup, we're very against UML. So that already sounds like, hey, we just need like a universal language for modeling all the services and their dependencies.
You want Grady Booch on here? You got to get some Booch. You got to Booch it up.
I don't want Booch on here.
Booch is coming on.
UML.
I'm gonna call him up. I don't know him, but I'll call him up randomly.
Get him on?
Hey Grady, what's going on, man? You don't know me, but I got this podcast that no one wants you on. Apparently, could you come on? Yeah, okay. Well, no, I'm not talking about a UML diagram, but I guess I am sort of scarily talking about maybe like, what do they call this? A systems architect diagram, whatever they call that little thing where they draw a bunch of little cloud shapes and then they write a name in it and then there's arrows. I mean, I don't actually need that because I just need the list, right? I just need to know like what main services, are you depending on or something like that. But I do think that would be interesting to know just from from an architecture standpoint, because it's like, if you're thinking of this service as just an endpoint you connect to, and so you're just thinking, what is the chances that goes down? You may not realize that really that and some other thing, they will go down at the same time if this other third service they both depend on goes down. And that's like to the point Low Level was just saying about like calculating that risk. That's an important part of the risk calculation. Right? You have to know which things are independent, because like the chance that Amazon and Google have an outage on the same day is pretty low. But if actually they're secretly both using each other's stuff, it's very high. And you need to know the difference between those two things. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that when, like, as a result of this, Google had an outage, but it also caused Cloudflare services to go down.
I was just about to ask this. How did that happen? What was this? Because I guess I was a bit shocked when Cloudflare was reporting things going down afterwards, because I heard this was like a Google-related thing.
Yeah.
And so I was very confused as to how the other services went down.
They have this worker service thing they do, and it relied on Google Cloud, apparently.
Oh, were they actually related? Was the Cloudflare
Yes,
outage?
I believe that was the case. I
So that's the only outage I heard of was the Cloudflare one. So I didn't realize they were kind of like one in the same.
I think they are.
Which is really funny because at the
correct level?
conference we were at a Cloudflare booth and we were like showing them the status, like, hey, you guys are down, and we just like walked away, dropped the bomb on them.
At Render ATL, you were literally walking up to people who were sweating bullets.
I think Hacksaw did it or somebody.
You're damn.
You know,
Hey
like,
man, your entire service is down. Have a nice conference.
Sorry, I'm looking at the report
You guys should pack
by
up and go.
Cloudflare. Cloudflare's report went a lot more in detail too than Google's did. So it looks like, yeah, Casey said workers as well as, so what is it? Workers, Warp, Access Gateway, Images, Stream,
Okay.
Workers AI, Turnstile, AutoRag, I don't know what that is, and Zaraz. So
there's
like
a lot of
a
their stuff.
ton of services are downstream dependent on Google at what you would call, you know, a CSP, right, a cloud service provider. Which is just, again, to Casey's point, like, you can't make a sane risk calculus if you don't know, like, the probability and the outcomes of things happening. So, like, if Google is like the core, call it center of gravity, right, of all of these things, if it goes away, what happens? You know, but because you're not exposed to that, you can't make a good call off of that.
I have a question for you, low level.
What's up?
So obviously, like,
You say your question, Trash.
I'm gonna say my question. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Hold on. Articulate. Okay. So let's picture like a big company.
Yeah.
Like Amazon or something.
Yeah.
Let's say you were like
dude,
Netflix. Let's say you just to pick a random
gone.
company. It's like Netflix.
Dude,
let's
I was
say.
thinking about this question for like 10 minutes, and it's just like, okay. Let's just picture I'm like Mr. Amazon, and I have a big company. It's so many teams. It's hard for me to find like which team is actually dependent on something that could actually like the dependency waterfall, right? Like, how do I, like, when you're consulting, or have you seen this in practice? Like, how do companies approach this? Like, to know that you're like the single domino. Like, if you fall, we're all like fucked, right? Like,
Yeah.
because it seems like when things like this happen, it's clearly like not in anyone's like peripheral, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I don't have a good answer to this. I've worked at big places and I've worked at small places, and inevitably what happens at companies that get big is their knowledge management solutions begin to suck very bad, and people that in what you would call like principal engineering positions know less and less about like the actual principal engineering concepts of the architecture. And so at the end of the day, like, nobody probably knows the totality of like what you depend on, and I'm not sure there is a good answer. I mean, I think the real answer is like, you have to have a single guy that probably knows the entire setup and have like a good place that everyone can go reference and see, like, kind of what Casey said, like the UML diagram of the architecture, right? Like, hey, we depend on Google here. If it goes down, we can make this risk calculus. But there really isn't a good answer to this. This is probably why this, not that it keeps happening, but like that this is able to happen, because no one's really aware how it all kind of glues together. It's hard, especially at a company as big as Amazon or Netflix potentially, where
Just pick a random company, random, just
completely
That's also
random.
big.
At random.
Yeah.
That's
So like
also big.
so question for Prime. So obviously we have like Chaos Monkey. Is Chaos Monkey kind of like in the same spirit of? I don't really know what it
Sort of.
does
So,
at a
okay,
low level.
I'll tell you what Chaos Monkey, Chaos Kong, and Chaos Gorilla, or Chaos Gorilla, Chaos Kong. So we have 3 of them at Netflix.
I had no
don't
idea
watch
there was
anymore,
3 of
but
them.
let me-
What?
Hey,
I
Trash,
gotta
let me
look
tell
this
you
up.
about Netflix since you work there and I don't. So so Chaos Monkey, what it would do is actually target an individual instance in Amazon, and it would kill that individual instance. And so that way, it's kind of to prevent any sort of like stateful operations between 2 separate services where I'm caching, like I'm doing some sort of extracurricular caching and creating some sort of weird state dependency. It will start just randomly killing services, and that runs in production every single day, as far as I know, at Netflix. Chaos Kong or Chaos Gorilla will take down an entire service. That's why we have something called blue services at Netflix. So if you look into blue services, that's like how we do a lot of default responses and things like that. So if a service goes down, you're able to have some form of data coming up. That's why we have a default Lolamo, because if you can't reach GPS or map or you know, all the things that go into creating There's like Pitcher, there's Rex, there's all those services all together. If one of them goes down, then you get what is the default Lolomo, which is like the latest known, highest ranking videos that will all come down. So you'll get like Stranger Things right off the rip, even if you've seen it, and there's no new episode.
Just to translate this for Prime, using knowledge I gained from Prime Stream, they use the word Lolomo to mean list of movies, I believe.
I didn't know that for the longest time.
Yes, but
Wow,
we
I just learned
technically
that.
are a Lolo-Romo, which is a list of recommendation objects for movie objects.
Okay.
That's Lolo
And it's a
Romo. I
new
can
one.
explain that for another one. I actually was the first person to implement that.
Okay.
It was very tricksy, but we got it done. Anyway, so with all that, then Chaos Kong, which is you will see emails about that. So if you just search in your email Chaos Kong, it usually runs on a Wednesday. And what will end up happening is that we'll actually take down an entire region. So not just a specific service, we'll actually take down US East 1 or US East 2 or West 1 or somewhere in EU, and it will be ran in production. And usually it's for like 1 or 2 hours to make sure that if some region goes down, Netflix continues to operate correctly. So those are the 3 levels. And so this doesn't help because the problem is that if every single one of these services has some sort of dependency, say on Google, you can't take down a region to test this because you don't take down a region, you're taking down an external service, which would crash every single subservice, which would take down all regions.
Right.
And so there is no overflow mechanic. So very interesting thing to do a Chaos Monkey with, which is to kill that service or a Chaos Kong at least would be to kill that entire service for a moment and see how does your system handle, say, a Google going down or a something. But then you don't also know, like all these, like you said, like no one would know that Cloudflare was going to get taken down because Google did an access to a nil pointer.
I have
Prime,
a
I
proposal.
have an idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I have a great idea. You guys can have this for free at Netflix. I'm just giving this to you. I'm giving this one to you.
I think he's on the same page as me. I'm curious what this is. Go ahead.
Okay. So
I'm
here's
not
what,
on the same page. What's happening?
So here's what you do. Because obviously you do have a problem because Netflix is like the whole point of the service is I'm supposed to be able to play movies, supposed to be able to stream movies at home or wherever on my devices, and you get in this situation, Google Cloud goes down, Amazon goes down, whatever. Whoever's storing the data goes down, I can't get the movie. So here's what you do. You get a really, and I mean blocky, compressed version of Baby Shark. So we're packing this thing into like a megabyte, right?
Okay.
And every single server node you have, no matter what it's running, keeps that 1 megabyte in memory. So that if everything goes down, Netflix will just stream Baby Shark to everyone so that at least something is playing during an outage. And then you can just be like, you can make up something about what happened. You're like, oh, sorry, you know, like our recommendation service was a little on the fritz, so it just decided that everyone wanted to watch Baby Shark. And then it will seem like you just have like infinite uptime. There you go.
Can I tell you a fun side story? This just reminded me of a side story.
Okay.
I tried to convince our marketing wing to do something kind of similar.
Oh, really?
In a similar vein. So effectively, they did this once. So if you look back in the day, this must be 2016, 2015, we actually leaked, I think, the 2nd season of House of Cards early.
Okay.
And everybody was like, oh my gosh, House of Cards. And then you got like, for 30 minutes, it was up and people could go watch it. So we actually like had content that we shouldn't have had leaked. And so then there's all these articles written, all this hype built and all this. And so I actually wanted I know this is not actually related at all to your idea. It just reminds me of it. I tried to convince Netflix to leak shows more regularly just for like a half an hour, because then you get all these articles written and everyone gets super hyped up, and it's like such a sweet way to mess with people, and it looks like it's an accident. And so you can have this whole idea of like accidental content and just being like, oh, our fault, you know, didn't mean to do that one.
And then publish like a fake apology every time, right? It's like making up service names like our Gorgonzola service failed, and then they're just like they don't actually exist internally.
Great, love Galacticus. You know,
Sorry, low level. You wanted to say something that was not my ridiculous Baby Shark joke.
It sounded like you were going down the path that I was going to go down, but you didn't. It's okay.
You went down a completely different path, I think.
Yeah, I propose chaos schlong. Hear me out.
Okay,
What you
okay.
do is this is actually real. Like what you could do is you could create like basically a firewall red button layer in between a cloud service provider and like whatever service it is. So just like you're doing like chaos dong, what are they called? Chaos Kong. You know, chaos Kong attacks at
Chaos
Netflix.
Dong.
You could also
Dong.
do,
Yeah.
and then like if it's a regional cloud-based thing, it'd be chaos Kong Dong or chaos. You know, if it's just for a small little service, chaos Monkey Dong. But all you're doing is you're red buttoning the cloud firewall to see like if Google goes away, what happens, right? My rate is roughly $1,200 an hour. That will be $120. You can bill it to Netflix trash. I'll give you my info.
The only problem, obviously, the only problem with that notion is that there's all those third-party one, like the Cloudflare one, that leaves your cloud or leaves your private network that you can control, your whatever, however you're controlling the traffic through your private network. You wouldn't be able to control that, and so they would still remain up, which would hide where the problems were actually at. And this is like the sole problem, which is the internet is supposed to be distributed. It's supposed to be the people-owned thing, but the reality is that the internet is largely power accumulated. You know, you only have
I'm sorry, I think
services.
I lost you there. Can you explain why that wouldn't work again one more time? So you're saying...
Okay, so let's say I have three services. I have Google Login, and I have Cloudflare AutoRag, which I assume is something to do with AI. You would program in your little cluster of machines that any request going out to Google automatically explodes.
It's not a cluster of machines. It's called Donkey Kong or something. I don't remember what he called it. It was like Dong Schlong or whatever.
Architecture, the Donkey Kong Schlong.
Yeah,
right?
that.
When that thing's on, it takes the cluster of machines and says, okay, any network traffic that matches this regex, which of course don't do that, but let's just pretend you do it this way. Matches this regex, we just return an auto 500. Okay, that works on the Google sign-in. We fix the problem, but the Cloudflare request to AutoRag, you don't solve. Because that request to Google happens outside of your purview to like affect. And so that's where this big problem is that
you basically need a black hat team. You need a black hat team to go actually crash Google and see what happens for the day. And that's the only way to actually implement Donkey Kong Schlong or whatever it's called.
It's crazy. We'll almost been here for 20 minutes and Casey's saying Schlong and Dong. True. I mean, couldn't you also catch this too if so I'm saying like basically any external dependency you guard with a red button that you can test, right? Because then you could test. It's not so much like that you're depending on that to tell you when Google or Cloudflare or whatever goes down. It's more like you're able to test like, hey, from a risk calculus perspective, if Cloudflare. Oh, but you're saying you don't know the dependency, I guess.
That's the problem. It's the same problem I was talking about originally. It's just like if this isn't disclosed, or worse yet, I guess if you combine the two problems that we've talked about, it gets even worse. Because like I'm saying, like, oh, it would be nice if they said what they depend on. But what you were saying, low level, is that like it's unclear that anyone at the company may even know the answer to that question always. Like, dude forgot that, we actually do call like the Google service in this one place, and we forgot about that, and we didn't put it on the diagram, and so then we went down because, blah, blah, blah. So I guess it's like, what I'm saying is just an observation of like, this decreases your ability to analyze your risk, and there may be nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in that team. I think I'm literally in the team of like, that's just how it is. Figure it out. Like, you know what I mean?
Either roll your own everything or forget it. Like,
I mean, do companies do that? Do people just like, I just don't want any dependencies?
Actually, I'm so happy you said that. Trash. I'm so happy you said that because that's the next thing I wanted to talk about, which was my happiest part about this whole thing is knowing the level of tweets that were going to happen from DHH. Right after this thing started going down, I was so stoked. I'm like, here comes DHH. He's going to be coming in hard. He's going to be like, on-prem solutions.
Exactly. At what point do we just have it all under our own roof?
He was living the dream life. They're like, it went down. Oh, I didn't know that.
Was he tweeting a lot? I didn't see.
Going down.
Was he going nuts?
Oh, yeah. He said there's even... I saw more tweets about people getting worried about DHH tweeting than DHH tweeting, but there were several of them.
That's
and
awesome.
This is like my favorite. That's my favorite aspect of the whole thing is that someone who has been right this whole time, who everyone makes fun of, and then the thing happens that he talks about, and they're all like, "Oh, great! Here he's gonna be insufferable now." It's just like, or he's just gonna be right, and he told you so. Mwah. Okay,
Chef's
no one else
kiss.
noticed? Whatever.
Salt Bae.
I thought it was fantastic. We don't need to discuss that part.
I was living real life, touching grass. I missed it all.
All right, so I want to tell you, so something funny happened to me is that I was streaming during that day, and I got done, my stream, I ended at like I think it was the hour that Cloudflare went down, and then I had a whole bunch of programming that I had to do. And I just proceeded to program until like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, open up Twitter, and everyone's just like, I can't work, the life's ruining, the internet's down. I had no idea the internet even went down. I was just in my own little world with my headphones on, and I missed the entire like experience of the internet exploding.
Yeah, I literally had no idea either.
Lost out,
I don't actually know like what exactly went down like in my own, like what do I use every day that would
everything
went down?
Everything went down. Like I remember like people couldn't on our Discord people couldn't upload images.
Could Tesla start? Could you drive a Tesla?
I don't have a Tesla. I
had
refuse
one,
to use
could
a
it work?
computer that is connected to an internet. I mean, to a car that is
Yeah.
connected to the internet. I think that's
I was
absolutely
like,
ludicrous.
Casey, you're on a computer that's connected to the internet, buddy.
Casey, I used to have that mentality. I used to like refuse to do smart thermostats, smart
Yeah.
cars, and then I just gave up. I was like, nah, whatever.
Don't do it.
If
Don't
they're
do
gonna
it,
kill me,
man.
they're gonna kill me. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
no, I know what happened. Your wife bought that Wi-Fi lamp. You
Dude.
uploaded a picture of it, and after that, you're just like,
GG. My
GG.
wife, love her to death. She's actually in the other room. She might walk in here while I'm making fun of her. She bought a lamp that was like IoT, and to turn on the lamp, you had to
Yep.
download an app that
Yep.
connected to the lamp over Bluetooth. Hold on. And
Yep,
then you
yep.
had to put your Wi-Fi password into the lamp for it to connect to the internet to upload its firmware, and then you could turn the lamp on.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then it bricked itself somehow, and it's useless and sitting in my bedroom still. It's crazy, man. So ever since then, and also I had to punch a hole through my firewall for it to work. I had to make a separate VLAN on my network, and on that network I had to basically allow I block like traffic by country. I had to allow a different country into my network for that lamp to work, which is pretty.
what country?
insane.
Was it Russia?
China.
China.
I had to allow Chinese
Never
traffic
heard
in my
of them.
network.
I
Never heard of
love
them? Yeah,
that
yeah.
you allowed China in from
Yeah.
a Wi-Fi lamp that uploads passwords. That definitely wasn't
Worth it.
worth
Needed
it.
the lamp, baby. Needed the lamp.
Did it at least change colors? Was it like a
Oh yeah,
hue?
it was cool as hell.
Okay,
You can
perfect,
make it red.
perfect, worth it.
It also had a timer in it that when you like, it's 6:30, sun rises at 6:45. It'll slowly bring the room up to light. It'll be like, and it makes like bird noises. It's like kind of a
Oh,
rad
I actually have
lamp.
a clock that does that.
Yeah, but it broke, so it's it's whatever.
I love how like no one can program without the internet. Like nothing you just said requires the internet at all. But they're like, you know what? We need this lamp to connect to China.
Do you remember
we
clap
need
on,
that.
clap
The
off?
only
That
way
was the
we can
best.
sunrise in America is a server in China.
China, that's right.
No way.
Yes.
What
That's
it
the
came
new
off to
Ronald
me
Reagan.
as, we need a convenient way to ask
Morning
you
in
for your
America
Wi-Fi
ad,
plain
yeah.
text password. But like, I'll let that be what it is. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like GPS exists. GPS has a time source. Just use that. I don't know why it needed Wi-Fi access.
Yeah,
but-
honestly, peak tech was the clap on, clap off lights.
dude,
You walk
bring it
in.
back.
Yeah.
Remember those commercials? Everybody, old people? No,
They're all getting out of bed. They're like, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Like,
that was peak technology.
yeah, dude, it's so good.
I will say the fact that we have to sign into something to use it, for me personally, is single-handedly the most frustrating aspect of modern life. Like
Yeah.
anything that I purchase that requires that, I want to throw it out the window. And I recently got an automated dog food feeder for my dog. And get this, I want you to just sit down and listen to this.
They are
There's
sitting
no
down,
internet to it. There's no Bluetooth to it. It has a record button, so you can just be like, "Hey, dog, it's time to eat."
Yep.
It records your voice up to 10 seconds, and you can have up to 4 feeding sessions a day.
That's pretty cool.
We have
Imagine
this.
that.
automated your
we
life?
we have basic technology. It
Yes.
exists.
We have this as well. We have this for our cats. It says "Bon appetit, tiny puss" every time. It puts the little
Let's
stuff
go.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it does.
Does it like in your voice, or is it like a
Yeah,
song?
yeah. We recorded
Nice.
that.
I
It's
love
like
that.
"Bon
Okay,
appetit,
can
tiny
you-
puss."
Is that how you say it? Say it
food comes
again.
out. Bon appetit, tiny puss, and then all the stuff, the food comes out.
He's Mario all of a sudden. Tiny puss.
What the-
Yes. And this the best part about this is you have to remember
What?
this is an automated feeder, and there's 2 of them because we have 2 cats, and there's 1 for each cat, and these feeders go off 4 times a day or something. So if there's guests over, right, it's just like, oh, hey, how's it going? And then, like, in the background, it's like, bon appetit, tiny puss. And then it's like, it's just a cat feeder. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
That's
pretty
really cool.
awesome.
Dude, it's totally normal, bro. It's just a cat feeder, okay?
Don't worry
Nothing
about it.
weird about it. But okay, so this cloud thing, we got to get back to the cloud thing.
Like, hey, just got us really like, all right, we're just blowing past that.
Prime's like,
Forget
I've
it.
never heard anyone call a cat a tiny puss before. That's
Oh,
new
dude,
to me.
I
That is new.
love
That is
using
new.
the word. I totally
You like using the
abuse-
word?
I abuse that so much all the time.
Ooh,
You
wait,
abuse the puss?
Oh yeah.
What is happening right now?
Yeah. I mean, in exactly the way you're doing now. Like,
What?
I love double entendre. What can I say?
Dude.
It's always good for me. Like, I always like when you can accidentally make it sound dirty. I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna like that.
I swear TJ leaves for one stream Just one
Oh God, you're
stand-up.
right. He would love this.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would love it.
Tej is the
I don't know if he
anchor.
would love it, but he'd probably shut it down real quick. We would have been on a different topic
be
already.
like,
Family-friendly
guys, we have sponsors.
podcast, guys.
all right.
I'm from New Jersey. I can't help myself. I'm sorry. Okay, listen.
All right.
Changing my
Well,
screen name,
anyway,
Tiny
what were you
Puss.
gonna say about some stupid cloud?
Honestly, I have no idea at this point. But I just want to say that.
Okay, all right.
Just, I guess, okay, so low-level learning. We had a thing where you weren't allowed to plug in devices on the Netflix network.
Yeah.
Why are you giving up? Why not just not have, like, do you really need sunset lamp, or can you just turn on a lamp?
So my thing is like, how do I say this? I, for a long time, lived a very paranoid life where I wouldn't do certain things and I wouldn't use modern comforts out of fear of being targeted.
Hit me
But then
a
I
modern comfort
learned
that you wouldn't use, like something that help us understand that.
No, literally, like a smart thermostat, I refused. Me 10 years ago would not have driven a Tesla because, like, oh, it's lithium-ion batteries attached to a computer on the internet and they could blow it up, right? Like that crap used to be what I would say. But then I realized if you're being targeted, they're gonna get you, dude. It doesn't matter.
That's
like,
literally
you
my
are-
way of life.
Yeah. What? What?
That's
This is one password. It's
I
one
have-
password,
I
bro.
have-
Yeah.
I have faith in humanity until it turns on me. So like,
Right.
if I go to like a public space, I'll just literally leave my wallet just sitting right there.
That's
With
crazy.
my keys.
Hold on. Stop. Wait. Okay. So
I'll
like,
literally just put my wallet like right there and open. Like I'm just like, no one's gonna steal it. Like I have faith in you, and so far hasn't yet. Oh my goodness, just jinxed myself. But like I leave my stuff. Like this is like at like gyms that I go to, like where I
Mm-hmm.
kind of know everybody. But like I have faith in humanity to where like if they're gonna get me, they're gonna get me. If they want to get my wallet, they'll just break into my locker. Give up.
Time out. There's a
I
difference
just- I-
between
I
getting
can't- I'm
you and pure
speechless.
stupidity. Like, there's a difference.
What?
I just
right.
leave my wallet out because if they're going to get me, first off, there is a shadowy cabal that's going to get somebody for a very specific reason. Leaving your wallet out for anybody to steal is not smart. Like, that's
Okay. Here's a better example. Sometimes I don't lock the door to my house. Like if
I
they're
never
gonna
lock
get
my door.
if they're
Yeah.
gonna get me, they're gonna just break the window, kick the door down. Like my
yeah, but
wife's
you live
very.
in California though. That's
Yeah,
different. Yeah, that's what you guys do out
I
there.
mean,
you
I
leave
did
your
that
doors
on the
open.
East Coast too. You know, just
You leave your
my door
keys in the
open.
car.
All I'm
you know?
saying is, if they're gonna get me, they're gonna get me. I'm just gonna live my life.
No, but that's where I'm at, right?
You
It's
know
like,
what I
and back
mean?
to your question, Prime, like, a corporate network has more to lose, right? So, like, maybe there should be rules in place to not plug in random crap, but, like, at my house, like, I'm gonna do my best. I'm not gonna go on freaking Temu and buy a router from Temu for $14 and then, like, be surprised when I get hacked. I'm not gonna do that, but I'm also, like, I'm gonna use the internet lamp. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just kind of just whatever. I'm over the paranoia, just for myself personally. Have good hygiene, like shower, but like use a password manager, right? Do all that stuff, like VPNs when appropriate. But I mean, like, I'm not gonna like not use certain technologies out of fear anymore. Just how what I've decided to do.
Pain of an ass, like to have to sign in via Bluetooth, send a password so it can sign into your network just to turn on a lamp, like. That's not
Yeah,
even
sure.
about getting hacked. That's just an ass pain. I don't
That
want
one
to
is
use that
more-
product like ever.
Yeah,
I don't
that-
care how great the sunrise and bird calls are and how. Oh, did you hear that? That's actually a Southwest loon that's specific to our region. Like, I don't even care. Like, there's no money you can pay me to sign into a lamp to make it turn on.
That
Well,
one's
yeah,
at like
that-
the far end of the spectrum. I agree, but like
That's the
thermostat that
counterpoint,
goes to my
though.
phone,
That
I'm
is
cool
the
with that.
legitimate counterpoint because it's like what you're saying makes total sense. Like if your threat model for why your stuff in your house isn't going to work is that like some government security agency is going to target you. It's like forget it because they'll just come to your house with guns and take you.
Right.
They don't need to hack your lamp. It's not necessary, right? But the they in your sentence could just as easily just be incompetent people at the actual manufacturer who cannot get the freaking lamp working. And that's why I don't buy these things. Like, I know that if I bought a Nest thermostat, I guarantee you the temperature in my house would be random all the time. And that is because I also seem to have uniquely bad luck with this sort of thing. So, all the people who are like, what are you talking about? My Linux install worked the first time, right? It's like, for me, it's always like, I always will hit the weird case for some reason. So if I bought a Tesla, the software would never be working. It would be, and in fact, a friend of mine actually had this. He had a Tesla pretty early, and he had so many hilarious stories. He's like, yeah, the air conditioning just stopped working for several weeks because of some software update, but then it's sort of working again now. And he's like, oh, the sunroof stopped working because they updated the software and they changed. I guess new models have that plugged into a different physical port, and they stopped sending the things out the old port, so now his sunroof is just closed permanently. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, yes, that is what would have happened to me if I had bought a Tesla. I don't want any of that. I just want to know that like the sunroof is on a motor, and unless the motor dies, it will open, right?
Yeah.
There's less failure points.
I will say, like, I don't like being on the cutting edge of new technology. So, like, I own a Tesla, for example, right? And to that point, I recently went to go drive somewhere. I sat in my car, and then on the Tesla, it said, there has been an electrical failure, call Tesla. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And so what I had to do is have them tow the Tesla 45 minutes away and fork out $5,000. And because it's Tesla, it's proprietary, so they can't tell me what happened. They're just like, yep, sorry, we fixed it. Here you go, give me your money. And so I feel you in terms of the ease of use on technology. Things that are well-solved problems, I will use newer technology, but like electric cars, I have a Tesla, I'm probably gonna get rid of it for that reason. I don't like effectively being the market test monkey, right, for these bigger companies.
And they're not serious about fault tolerance. Like, that's the thing. It's like this car was not, I mean, maybe the brakes were, which is good, but like the actual ability to drive the car was not, as far as I can tell, right? And use the features of the car.
Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine like internally there's like some real-time hard system for braking and stuff, but like the UX of turning on the car,
not so much.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Sorry, you go, Trash. Just,
No, I was gonna say
you just go, okay?
Prime is so mad. What is happening right now?
I don't know. He's melting down. He's not mad. He's melting. He's like so disappointed in us.
Like
I just want to get this off my chest.
So disappointed in us right now.
All I want, I don't really care about smart houses or anything. All I want is the fridge that has the clear door, so I can just look inside of it without opening the door. That's all I want.
Prime
That's
just
all I
bought a
require.
Tesla?
Glass door? Is that what you're
You know
asking
the
They have that,
fridges
don't
where
they?
you can see
They have
before
that.
you open the door. That's all I want.
They have that. You can buy that.
I
Can't you?
know.
But it's just glass. Why don't you just get triple pane glass or something? Like, why do we have to have technology that involves a camera when we already have something you could see through called glass?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I just want a simple glass door.
He wants the glass one. He's agreeing with you, Prime.
I don't want the technology.
This isn't even about technology
Prime
anymore. I
ain't
just
mad
want a
at me.
fridge
I'm
with
on
glass.
his side. I'm on your side, Prime.
Dude, thank you. Because when I hear everyone like, oh, the Nest thermostat is good, I'm like, bitch, it is summertime. I set my AC to 69 and I never set it again.
It's the same
for
here.
6 months.
Same here.
What
Yep.
the hell do you need a smart
Can I tell you?
temperature setter? Okay,
Can
yeah,
I tell you?
Okay, hit us up with it.
This is the most American thing you're ever going to hear, but here. I'm laying in bed. It's 9:30.
Super
My
American.
son, 2 years old, is asleep. I can see on the baby monitor that his room is a piping hot 74.
Okay.
I don't want to get up. I'm in bed. I brush my teeth, my Invisalign's in. You know what I do? I go to my phone. I can change the temperature in the house from my bed. I don't have to get up, baby.
You
have
can
like a-
try.
Do
You
you
can
also have like your
try
red
to
light
change
on
the
you
temperature.
and everything?
You
I
can
have two
try
fans
to
going.
change
I'm
the
set.
temperature.
I turned off the camera and only listened to audio.
Oh.
And for most of our kids' childhood, I didn't even have one of those. I slept near enough that I could hear them cry if they got really ornery, and that's it. Because you don't need to listen to everything.
Probably
Why
good
are
practice
you
for this
filling
podcast.
your life with this shit? Just stop it. You don't need to do it at 74. Yes, sucks, but that's totally normal
But
temperature.
the moral of the story is I changed that shit for my phone, dude. It was great. I don't have to get up. So that's why.
Not the moral of the story.
Prime's just more heated now.
Yeah.
Wait, so I saw in chat,
And then
Prime, are
Google
you
Cloud
mad?
went down and my baby froze to death. But
Yes,
you know
exactly.
that one day that I could change the temperature from bed, it was all worth it, right? Like
Google login
Yeah.
stopped working, so
Yeah.
I couldn't show
Yeah.
my house. It was 89 today
Yeah.
in the summer.
Prime, are you mad because you bought a Tesla?
Me? No, I never bought a Tesla. I
Oh,
have I have
Beacon said you bought a
2000
Tesla, that's why.
I have a
Okay.
2006 what's called Chevy flatbed pickup that has manual window rolls.
Dude, when I met up with Prime and Tej in LA, they saw my car and Prime was so disappointed. And he was like,
disappointed.
he was like, you need to get your priorities straight in life.
what was the car?
I have a Porsche. And he was, and he just looked at the ground and was like, damn it, Trash, get your life on track. It was so fun. I felt so bad. I was like,
Very
all right, I
judgy.
guess I'll just drive home now. And it just like drove home in shame.
Let the
I
man
was
have
like,
his
all right,
Porsche.
my bad, dude.
That is a
did-
crazy message. Holy shit. We lost the baby because it had an upstream dep on GCP.
Dude, but that's like actually okay. That is like the world we live in now. Like we are living in a world where computers have crashed planes into the ground and everyone died. That's
Oh, yeah.
not like
That's
fictional.
true. That's
right?
terrifying. That
So
is
like,
just like, sorry.
like it really is. Like people underestimate the risks from actually increasingly putting technology in places where they could have bad results. I agree, the baby froze to death is probably an exaggeration in this case, but like things like that are not far, right? And it
100%.
doesn't
This
have
just
to
happened
be
with
about
Tesla.
security exploits. It can just be incompetence. That's
No,
the
you're right.
scary
I mean,
part.
you guys
What
have heard of
happened with
the
Tesla?
Toyota 2009 case, right?
yes, I'm
Was
deeply
this
familiar
the
to that.
Prius acceleration?
I was
thing?
like, that was like what, 16 years ago? I don't know.
So I don't know if it was just Prius, Casey. I think it was
Okay.
a lot of Camrys too. But basically,
Oh,
like,
okay,
so
yeah.
the way the ECU worked on Toyota is it had an RTOS in it, and inside of RTOS is you have like the thread control block for all the threads that run on the RTOS. And
Time out, RTOS.
Time-
Real-time
electrical
operating
control
system.
unit, real-time operating system.
Sorry,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
ECU,
got it,
yeah,
it.
real-time operating system. But basically, the way that it was designed, if like a single bit got flipped in the TCB, the task that ran the brakes would not that ran the accelerator would not properly halt. So like the cars were literally just randomly flooring it, and there was no way to stop it because the way that they wrote the braking logic, because it was a fly-by-wire braking, it wouldn't actually actuate the brakes. So people from like 2009 to 2012, I think, were like just randomly getting caught doing like 120 miles an hour and flying into a brick wall because the ECU was like crashing gracefully.
I didn't
that.
know that they ever root caused that. They actually did. Oh, I shouldn't say root caused it. I didn't know they ever published what it actually was.
So it was closed privately, but Michael Barr, who was the consultant that was doing the analysis, has published some of his slides of his findings. I think a lot of it is still under NDA with Toyota, but he basically like published what he thought it was before it went public
Okay.
internal, right? And he said basically, yeah, like this thing is a landmine. If a bit flips here, or here, the ECU will just run on forever in undefined behavior, and that includes like, oops, the brakes don't work.
wow.
Just recently, like just this year, maybe last year, Tesla had it where there was some sort of fire that happened and people couldn't unlock the door because there was a power failure in the Tesla, and it just like the door shut and the people burned to death inside their own car.
Fail open is very important. In fact, we can tie this back here at the because we are at our hour mark, I think, or getting close to it. We can tie this back to the original topic of the day. One of the things that Google included in their like mea culpa, we took down the entire internet, sorry about that, our bad, was at the end they were like, what are the steps we're going to take to try and improve our process, and one of the things they listed was this service should have failed open. Like instead of the default for when the quota system goes down being deny everything, maybe it's just approve everything so that the services can keep running. I don't know how that necessarily, but maybe you could do something more cabined where it's like approve any reasonable, like approve anything that doesn't allocate too much new space. I don't know what they meant by that exactly, but they were like, try to make these things fail open so that it won't just take down the internet if like the quota check fails. That was what I assumed that they meant, but I don't really know because again, it was a very terse statement, and I only read it for this podcast, right? I wasn't like I don't study this stuff, so I'm not sure. But so fail open is a pretty important principle. Like, what should something fail closed or should something fail open? And if you have like door locks on a car, ideally, if there could be people inside, you always want it to fail open so that there's no way for like a car computer system to fail and then trap the people on the inside. You want to fail if the system for locking goes down, you want it to be open, right? Because worst case, people steal your car or something like that. That's a lot better than burning alive.
I was
It is
thinking about
tough.
that. Oh, sorry. You can go.
Okay, so it is tough from like I think a design perspective. Like,
is.
because the control plane software that crashed was the authorization software. It's like I agree with you, it should fail open, but like to your point, what does fail open mean in an authorization case, right? You can't just be like, yeah, go do it, whatever, because that's bad.
Yeah.
But inversely, it's denying everything killed the internet for a minute.
Yeah.
So what do you do? It's tough. Prime, go ahead.
I was about to say, this fail open thing, that also like you also have a problem with this even with just the physical reality. Remember how Tesla was claiming that their whether or not it actually is bulletproof, their windows were bulletproof? What happens when you drive a Cybertruck into a pond and you need to break out of the window?
I actually have a keychain.
Right.
Will break your
yeah,
window.
I have a key utility that breaks windows, but normal windows, you hit it once and they explode into 1,000 little pieces.
Yeah.
What do you do when you hit it? It just goes, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah. Well, this is like the locks, right? It's like one of the reasons that you want a lock to always be possible to do physically, if you could, right? Is for this reason. It's because if you think about what fail open means, well, if a mechanical element has to push the lock up and down and it's not accessible to humans, it's almost impossible to build a fail open version of that, because if the electrical system fails, the locks cannot actuate. So there's really no fail open possibility.
Right.
So like, again, like just smart mechanical design is like your car should have a way that you, with your hand, can unlock the door from the inside if you needed to, right? And like anything short of that is just kind of bad safety design, right? And the same is true for internet services to the extent that you can do them. You want to be thinking about that the same way. It doesn't quite analogize exactly, but it's similar, right?
That is interesting because, like the Tesla, you have the way that the doors work is you have a button that you push that electrically pulls the window down and opens the door for you. But there is a physical, I'm pretty sure it's pure mechanical knob where you can rip that and it pops the door open. It's bad for the windows, obviously, but that's the fail open scenario. Is like, you are in a lake, the electronics are dead. Pull this lever, the door will open. So I'm interested in that case if they knew that, if it was a rental, maybe that version didn't have that model, maybe it's not mechanical and it
Yeah,
just
like
broke,
how did
I'm
they
not sure.
burn? How did they burn to death without being able to do that? Yeah.
That's just the things that I heard. I don't know how it exactly works. I didn't do any research. beyond
Window
that.
wise, it's worse because, like, to your point, like you can't open the door if you fall into a lake because the water pressure is too high. So
Right.
you need to be able to open the window. And in that case, I don't know what their answer is to that. Break it, I
Yeah.
guess, or I don't know.
That's a terrifying
Interesting.
scenario. I don't ever want
It
to
is
be in there.
terrifying.
No. Yeah.
Prime, I know you love Rust.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
love Rust.
think that the GCP outage would have happened had this binary been written in Rust?
That's actually a really good question. I think that we would have still had some sort of weird state, because at the end of the day, how do you have a state, let's just say the YAML file produces something incorrectly. What happens to a GCP service if they update the policy and there's nothing there in a thing that's supposed to be there? Right? Like someone would have probably programmed the positive case, and then what happens at the negative case? It just wouldn't deploy. Like all things would stop anyways.
Right.
I'm not really sure like how this could have saved it much other than you would have had a pre-planned, hey, it's going to explode. Maybe you could have identified it earlier, and maybe the outage would have been less. I mean, I'm all for the idea of unique pointer / smart pointers where you can't access things without some sort of like, hey, yeah, this thing's not nil. Like I like monads. Yeah, dude, get me in. Let me have a piece of that monad. Like that, I'm all about that. But at the same time, I don't know, because the real question, I guess the question I'd have to follow up with is that it's not whether or not Rust would have made this possible or not possible. It is, if it were written in Rust, would this software ever have existed beyond somebody's idea or not? And that's really the question I have to ask is, can it actually exist in production? I'm not too sure.
Right.
We don't have any security exploits in Rust because the software did not get written.
Right, because it never got shipped. It's never in production. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, so whenever I do videos, I say at the end of the video about like memory exploits, like, would Rust have saved this? I think the answer to this one is sort of, right? Like, because it wasn't like necessarily like a memory corruption vulnerability or a memory corruption issue, it was more just like you dereferenced a bad address. I think the Rust programming model would have helped with it, but like you can do an unwrap on an option that's none, right? And then like you crash. So it's like there are still human factors in the code that could have caused it to be the same DOS condition if, the haha object in the YAML file wasn't there, right? So it would have made it, I think, less. What's that?
They would have had an expect, right? Like, because they'd been like, you cannot have a license or whatever it was without these fields, and they probably would have just expected.
Sure.
Which would have caused, it's like no different than a nil pointer crash because you wouldn't have known about it until runtime. So I assume it's the same thing. I don't think Rust would have helped at all here.
Yeah, I agree.
It would have been nice if they had said what language it was written in, showed us a little bit of the code, like told us if this was Gemini, right? This could have been like somebody vibe coded this and like, hey man, I'm pretty sure the AI said it was great. But there was no information, so we don't really know, like, human factors wise. We have no idea what happened here, really, because they were very, very. It
was actually written in Rust, is my guess, and they actually don't want to release that information that it was written in Rust
by Gemini.
So
it was written in Rust by Gemini. Yeah,
as part of the greater agenda of the Rust industrial complex. You sheep will need to wake up.
my God.
Put up the board. Where's the
I felt
board
that.
with all the connections
that.
between the Rust Foundation and the like? Where's your diagram? We need the little conspiracy diagram.
All right. Oh, this was
Are
a
we
great
done?
episode.
Are we done? Have we wrapped?
I think we're wrapped, right?
We got
folks?
tons of great content in here.
Dude,
No
my
one could
favorite
be
moment-
unhappy with that. No one could be unhappy with that episode. Chad,
think
you just
so.
that was a golden episode. What more do you want from us? Low level, everybody.
Boot up the day, vibe coding, errors on my screen, terminal coffee in hand.